Should Wilder and Fury 3 happen?
It's going to happen.
No, but should it happen?
Oh, should it? What is in like? Should he step aside or?
Yeah, should he step aside?
Well,
like,
you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you, yeah, because basically, I thought, yeah, like, what? Well, let's recap what happened this week. Wilder done an interview and he came out and said, as far as he's concerned, he's still the champion. And there's a bit of debate around that because some people are saying, well, maybe it's the mentality he has. He has technically got a third fight, and then other people are just saying he's just fucking delusional. And when he was doing the interview, one thing I found interesting and one thing that I found very worrying, and one thing is that he said he just had surgery again. Now, didn't he got injured, I think, in the first Wilder fight. He said he broke his arm or something going into that first Fury fight. Yeah. That was Wilder. So he just got injured again. He said he broke his arm again or some shit. So his body's just breaking down. So I thought that the rest, because if the fight was in July, he would have no chance. I was saying he should step aside and get some step aside money and try and get a shot at the winner. But when obviously this whole virus thing happened, October, that's enough time to mentally rebuild, physically rebuild. But it doesn't seem like he has. It seems like he's still very he's not fit because he just had surgery and he's not training. So he's not even really rebuilding physically, and he still sounds mentally deluded. So
I think personally for me, Wilder has to take the fight, because if he doesn't,
is the question is has he or should he?
Well, he should take the fight.
Okay.
Right. Reason is from a contract standpoint, right? Let's just say, for example, he stepped aside and Fury fought Joshua. What's your prediction of Fury Joshua? We both, I think, predict that Fury will beat Joshua, right?
I think we both do, but to the degree is
okay. But regardless, we agree the result.
Yeah.
Okay. So if Fury was to beat Anthony Joshua, what does that make him?
He has all the belts, right? Yeah.
Lineal.
He's already the lineal.
No. Lineal.
He beat Wilder and won the lineal.
No, because he didn't keep the other belts. Well, I suppose if you want to call it that way, but this is actually the lineal. I mean, he holds all the belts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then does he need to fight Wilder again?
Not really.
No. Is probably Fury likely to retire?
Yeah.
So then for me, if I was Wilder and I was thinking about it, I would say I better fight him. Now the question is Wilder getting prepared for this Fury fight? And with all this Corona stuff happening, it's going to be a trouble for him. He's got a lot of work. He needs to kind of rebuild. He got plummeted in that fight. It's regardless. I was a Wilder fan. I wanted Wilder to win, but in that fight, it wasn't good. Fury dominated that fight. The
thing is, I thought Fury was going to win. Obviously, just based on the first fight, he's more fitter. He's just going to be able to I know he was talking about knocking him out. I just thought, he's just going to outbox him cleaner this time. Obviously, he done the one thing that nobody was expecting, and Wilder's a knockout artist. I think he got knocked out. I don't think it's sunk into him, and the excuses, you're talking about surgery, your costume. That costume is going to haunt him. That he's going to be known. I feel like he's going to be known more for the costume excuse than all his knockout. Because people now are saying Wilder's shit. Yeah, well, that's debatable. Everyone knew he could never box. Yeah, but he did have power because he did knock out some man's clean. But I think everyone's going to be talking about the costume, and I don't see how he can go in. Even in the second fight, he didn't even the first fight,
that costume would have made him tired. I'm not giving an excuse for the result, but I mean, if I was walking with what was it, 40 pounds? They were saying walking. Yeah, if you're holding that, if you're walking, having that on for about an hour. Excuse? No, it's not. It's not an excuse for the result, right? But I
Yeah.
think it would have done some detriment to him in the ring, but it wouldn't have changed the outcome.
Yeah.
But you got to remember something, yeah. For me, the first fight, I saw it different from you. See, that KO
So
for
who did you
me
think
meant that
won?
he could KO. Let's just talk about the first fight for a second, right?
Okay. Yeah. So who did you think won the first fight? That's what I'm asking.
Well, I think the referee messed up, so I have it very
I see.
different. Look, if it went to points, if it was a legit points, Fury won it, right? I don't think it was a draw. But if you look at that, anyone that's objective looks at that, right? The amount of seconds. If I knock someone down, I don't expect the ref to give that guy an extra 10 seconds because I knocked him down. I want to carry on. He's dazed. No, the ref gave him an extra 10 seconds to rest. That's enough time to recover.
Yeah, but he said that. He said that in the changing rooms. He like if you go watch the documentaries and stuff, that referee, like at the end of the day, I feel like if you set out the rules from the start and it's fair for both fighters, he came to the changing room and he said, "I will give you every opportunity to prove you're okay," and that's what the referee done.
Yeah, but there were anyway. It doesn't matter. But there were three back and forths, right? So, like for me, I had it different. I thought he could have KO'd Fury. I just wasn't expecting Fury to come that heavy in the fight. And if you watch that first round, Wilder landed a bomb, and Fury took it. Now, if that was Fury in the first fight with the same weight, I think he probably would have dropped. And I just think that he had so much weight on him. You know, punch resistance, you improve in taking a punch if you're heavier. It's a fact, right? And I just think he took that punch. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, no. Because I wanted Wilder to win, except the difference is Fury just outdone him. I mean, there were a lot of holding, pressing down on the head and everything else like that. But Fury won that fight fair and square. There's no denial on that. So
I think one thing that I would say, and it's just come to my head now because we're talking about the third fight, and I think you know what? Yeah, like I think Wilder definitely has to take the fight. He has no choice because contract-wise and waiting. Should he take the fight? I think if he was able, a miracle, to get a guaranteed winner for all the belts out of Joshua and Fury, then no. But that ain't never gonna happen because
he's just taking it for payday.
Yeah, Joshua's not gonna give him. No. I disagree with that. Joshua's not going to give him the shot, and Fury.
No, not Joshua. I'm saying that Wilder.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't agree with
payday.
That. I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think actually, first of all, I think it's good because let's all appreciate that these guys have put it on the line 3 times, and that's what. No, let's not.
Don't get me wrong. I think Wilder is going to try to win it, but for us, it's a payday. I think the same result's going to happen. I don't see.
Oh, okay. You think for like it's a payday fight, but you don't think Wilder's just going for the payday.
Back to the question, right? He has to fight him because he probably won't get another fight with Fury if he doesn't, and Joshua takes his place. So he has to fight him. And 2 is, we as us fans, we know that he probably lose. So in his mind, he's thinking, well, I'm going to try to win, but if not, at least I'm going to get a lot of money. Because if he doesn't fight him, people are going to always remember him for getting beaten up by or beaten by Fury.
Yeah. I think what you're saying is, I think it's percentage-wise. So I do think I think about 20% he is thinking about the payday. Obviously,
he has to.
Even Fury's
the prize fighter.
Payday. I think personally, Fury's thinking more about the payday than Wilder because I think Fury's probably thinking, you know what? Yeah, like
of course he was. He's thinking I could
easily. Yeah. So, but I think Wilder, which is going to go kind of against everything that I'm going to stand for and everything that I'll say because we all know. In rematches, the guy that makes the adaptations, the boxer, the guy that can change is the guy that normally wins. And in this case, we've seen it with Joshua Ruiz. Joshua made the changes, won. Ruiz just went to party. We've seen it Wilder and Fury. Fury made the changes. He made some changes nobody expected him to do, but he made the changes. Wilder didn't really make no changes. He came in a bit heavy, but that was it. But I feel for Wilder, and again, is this going to be contradictory? I don't think he can make no changes, and I just don't think he should even bother. I don't think he should. I think he should just do what he done in the first fight and hope he just lands that one bang, because I don't see what he can. He ain't going to learn to box in the next 3-4 months. He's not ever been.
He's underrated. He's underrated boxer. He's just facing a guy who's best boxer in the heavyweight division right now.
Exactly. This ain't Joshua against Ruiz. Was always a slow plodder. This is, you can't learn how to box. He can learn how to box, and he's always been a bit underrated, but he's not going to get to Fury's level in 3-4 months. So I
think the weight didn't help, and you know, I think that's a major thing. And for him, also him putting on, how much weight did he put on? He put on 20 pounds. He put on more.
20 pounds. Yeah. So he came into the first fight 207, and then this one was about 230.
Yeah, so he put on more weight, even though he weighed less than Fury. He put on more weight. I mean, just boxing with that amount of weight, it's gonna cause a issue.
But I think I think that was, for me, that's what worries me about him. But then it's the same thing that makes me feel is his best chance, because I feel like he's talking about the weight of the costume, but not once have I heard him mentioned how, and this actually to me is a valid excuse, that to not push. And look, he could actually say this excuse actually now is actually so sick and so valid. He could easily turn around and say, well, I had to fight Ortiz. It was contracted. Unfortunately, it got pushed back to November. I could have pushed the Fury fight back, because who does a turnaround like that in this day and age with November to fight in February? But I thought, no. And look, imagine I did push the Fury fight back. We wouldn't have no fight now. I think that's an excuse, because clearly he finished. Okay, we know he banged out Ortiz and he didn't really do much, but he finished that camp, and then he went straight into another camp. And then not only did he go straight into another camp, he went into another camp where he's trying to gain weight and muscle. So he must have been knackered. Like, he must have left everything in the gym. And I think that's an excuse, not the costume thing. I think that's ridiculous. I think if he said that and said, listen, I should have rested before the Ortiz fight, but I thought, fuck it, fight's here. I can beat Fury. I just need to land the punch. Look, if I didn't fight him, look what's happening in the world. You've got to take your opportunity when it comes. Right. I could have pushed it back and there would be no second fight. And I think that's an excuse. All this costume thing, I think, is nothing. But I feel that that's what he should do for the third fight. I think that, like you're saying, get the fundamentals right. Go back to the weight that you're, because he's never going to be as big as Fury. Go back to the weight you're
and hope for the best.
Right? Yeah, and that's it. Get your mind mentally prepared. You can, whether that's thinking that you never lost and there's a third fight, then whatever. Do what you've got to do. Get your mind mentally strong, because Fury dominated him in both of the build-ups, and in the second fight they were rarely face to face, and he still dominated him. So in the third one, he's going to dominate him even more. So get yourself mentally right. Go back to basics. Do what you're good at. Yes, put a little bit more fundamentals in there. Perhaps bring somebody in from the outside that can teach you a little bit. But don't bring somebody in that's going to now change your whole game to become a master boxer, because it's just not going to happen. And and then just go for the haymaker. That's all he can do. He can't do nothing more than that.
Yeah. All right, cool. We're done?
All good, mate.
All good? All right, cool. Until the next episode then.
All right, next one. Signing out.